Hello and welcome to my overview of basically some of these states, or rather some of the states that are in my game. Current game, that is. So, first we have the Eso Democratic States. It could be, that's the best I can do for any possible pronunciation, but a direct democracy, with people being directly involved in governing and deciding on policy initiatives. Bureaucratic efficiency is increased and both social and economical development are accelerated. Anarcho-syndicalism. The basic principles of anarcho-syndicalism anarcho-syndicalist society are solidarity, direct democracy, and workers' self-management. Syndicalists consider their economic theories a strategy for facilitating workers' self-activity and, as an alternative, cooperative economic system with democratic values and production centered on meeting people's needs. They are fanatic libertarian. Fanatic libertarians stand for a general reduction of central bureaucratic authority and maximum political autonomy and self-governance. They are fanatic militarist. The ability to project force is of paramount importance. The only way to preserve a way of life is to make sure everyone else shares it willingly or not. Materialist. As we reach for the stars, we must put away childish things, gods, spirits, and other fantasies. Is that fantasies or phantoms of the brain? Reality is cruel and unforgiving, yet we must steel ourselves and secure the survival of our race through the unflinching pursuit of science and technology. Unflinching pursuit of science and technology. So that's what we're God. American Union State. Anyone who's played Kaiserreich knows exactly probably what this is. And don't worry, they're interventionist and globalist anyway. Indirect democracy. Indirect democracies have regular elections where all citizens can vote on who should represent them. I mean, come on. America is always going to be an indirect democracy. In all universes. It just makes me laugh so much, the idea that there'll always be somewhat an indirect democracy. Man. A form of government, a liberal democracy, a form of government characterized by elections between multiple distinct political parties, a separation of power, a market economy with private property, and the equal protection of civil rights, civil liberties, and political freedom. Well, this is my vision of what everyone wishes America was, but isn't. So yeah, that's why they are a liberal democracy. Libertarians preserve democratic values with citizens being directly involved in the governing process through the mechanisms of either representative or direct democracy. Xenophile. There exists in all of us a deep-seated fascination for the unknown, an adventurous spirit that rejects the familiar and glories in the unfamiliar, whether or whomever it may be. Militarist. The only true virtues are courage and discipline, and channeled properly they can overcome any obstacle. Therein lies true strength, force withheld, a promise made. Industrialist. Those who preserve the industrialist system of values consider themselves masters of the biosphere, who have moral rights to exploit nature and its resources for the sake of their own prosperity, even if it implies discrimination of other biological species. Otherwise, it can be called biotheoretical elitism. Competitive. Personal ambition is the engine of progress. The desire to improve, the drive to pursue it. Those are those things that have brought the stars themselves to our fingerprints. We must continue to protect our hard-won freedoms of expression from the irrational fears of conformists, and to never allow geniuses to be held back by genericism, I think that is. Someone tell me one day. That's one day I'll find out what that is. Being naturally open to alien cultures, this civilization nevertheless does not neglect to use military force when it seems justified to maintain the global balance of power. I think we can all agree that's definitely totally America. This is totally America. Claim influence costs 30 plus, but they have a pretty nice bonus to trust cap, and they have an extra contribution and much more diplomatic weight from their fleet power. Well-funded militia. A desire to preserve freedom led to a massive number of volunteers willing to fight for their homeland regardless of their level of military experience. This is meant to be, I'm sure most people who know at least something about America will know this is meant to be a somewhat reference to a certain amendment in the Constitution in the US. A very specific one that has an S at the start of a word. Globalism. It's not just the fascination for the unknown and unfamiliar which drives us into space, but also the profitable deals we can get out of it. Their planets get increased chance of being nominated to host galactic market through boosting decisions. Boost market nomination costs less influence to invoke. Commercial pacts do not cost influence to maintain. Get increased opinion from trade conglomerate. Enclave. Entrepreneurs faction will provide additional appeal for being in trade federation. I mean, look at that. They get some pretty nice trade bonuses and nice weight from their economy. Financial elite. In the society, wealth equals power. Upper echelons of society are occupied by the rich, while working class people are being systematically oppressed. Remember, this is meant to be the somewhat decently okay version of America. This is meant to be the version which everyone's like, yeah, they're cool. Oligarchic. Bandit Commune. The Gallic Confederation. This government is organized like a massive crime syndicate where the strong prey on the weak, and any neighboring states are seen as little more than raiding targets. Authoritarian, xenophobe. I'm sure everyone probably knows what that is. The stakes cannot be higher as we reach into the vast, uncharted expanse of the galaxy, for we are gambling with the very survival of our species. Never trust aliens, its false smile hides an unknowable mind. Barbaric despoilers. This society holds very few things sacred. To fight is to live, and the strongest may seize whatever they covet. Cannot form migration treaties, cannot form but can join federations other than martial alliances or hegemonies, has the despoilization, Caspilia, and all other empires. Unlocks the raiding bombardment stance, which in turn allows us to abduct pops from the besieged planets and resell them to our own worlds. Decreased opinion for most other empires, mercenary enclave capacity 1+. Basically, think of they're meant to be like the actual goals from real life. Warrior culture. This society has developed into a hardy warrior culture. Martial prowess is valued above all else, and true glory can only be found on the field of battle. So yeah, they value your martial skill. I mean, get some nice army damage 20+, mercenary enclave capacity 1+, so they get 2+ of mercenary capacity. This nation consists of free city-states all around the world. Therefore, they treat individual planets in their territory the same. Same as them. What? It's in their territory, same as them. Ah, I see. So, yes, basically they're decentralized. Administrative capacity 50 plus, starbase influence cost 30 minus, governing ethics attraction 50 minus, edict duration 50 minus. Basically, they're just a loose confederation. And they probably don't have any real strength when it comes to the ability for them to be... I mean, they're already unruly, empire size from Pops 10 plus. They get quarrelsome, so their unity from jobs is lowered. Oh, and they have short lifespans, but they're nomadic, and they're strong. And while they have functional architecture. This society is renowned for its simple yet functional architecture. There are those who would refer to this building style as boring or even depressing, but in most cases, neo-concrete does the job just as well as any other building material. But yeah, they're meant to be like the actual goals. They're not going to be unified against an enemy, therefore, it's only when a foreign threat comes up that they'll actually be unified. Otherwise, there is nothing to do. Oh, and here's an actual version of America. A representative democracy, and they're an indirect democracy too. So yeah, let's see, what have they got? Indirect democracies have regular elections where all citizens can vote on who should represent them. Representative democracy. This government is a representative democracy where citizens can vote on officials who are elected to represent them. I made it so that this one totally accurately, like, representative democracies basically think the electoral college. Just imagine just imagine that when you're voting in this state, you're voting for something like the electoral college, which is yep. Certainly indeed a factor. Gotta find it somewhat amusing. I do find it amusing that I found an accurate one for the United States of America. So basically, their government citizens vote on officials who are elected to represent them. Just like America. Domestically. Financial elite. In this society, wealth equals power. Upper echelons of society are occupied by the rich, while working class people are being systematically oppressed. Spirit of revolution. This nation was built on the ruins and chaos of revolution, and the people still believe in the ideal it represented. Basically, the population really believes in the ideal of democracy. And, well, the union. / whatever. You know. I tried to make these pretty accurate. Functional architecture. This society is renowned for its simple yet functional architecture. There are those who would refer to this building style as boring or even depressing, but in most cases, neo-concrete does the job just as well as any other building material. Beacon of liberty. This society idealizes personal liberty, holding above all else the right of the individual to pursue and fulfill their own goals and ambitions. The reduction of central government and authority and bureaucratic regulation encourages innovation and the free flow of people, goods, and ideas across the nation. Cannot use planned economy. Resettlement and population control are not allowed. Social welfare living standards not available. Unity 15 plus, empire size from Pops 15 minus. So, yeah. I mean, I do like me some accurate stuff, and sometimes reading these is just amusing. An indirect democracy. Now they're basically just phonetic materialists. Although it hurts, we must grow up and put outside our outdated notions of morality. There is no divine spark granting special value to a living mind. No object has any intrinsic value apart from what we choose to grant it. Let us embrace the freedom of certitude and achieve maximum efficiency in all things. They are an indirect democracy. Indirect democracies have regular elections where all citizens can vote on who should represent them. They are a cyber democracy, though. That is the difference. This government is a materialistic form of democracy where citizens use computer networks to vote directly on most matters regarding the state. Cyber democracy. Involving high-tech achievements of IT and most mass communication into democratic governing allows creating the most efficient bureaucratic system, but such dependence on technology may result in occasional cybercrime outbreaks. I was going to say outburst, but actually now I think about it, outburst and outbreak would have been equally as good. Yeah, well. Administrative capacity, 15 plus. Research speed, 20 plus. Research speed for bureaucracy, 20 plus. Crime, 20 plus. Consumer goods upkeep, 15 plus. I mean, they're gonna have slightly more crime, but it's not bad. Some jobs with science directors, researchers also produce 0.75 unity. And me, if you did hear that, yeah. Time is fleeting for this species. Well, what they lack in longevity, they have to make up in other ways. Conformist. They conform to their ideals, basically. Those people always seek consensus and are most likely to conform to the governing ethics. Strong. Members of this species possess great physical strength, making them formidable fighters on the ground. Meritocratic. An individual's social station or personal connection should have no bearing on their profession. The sole basis for advancement in this society is demonstrated ability and talent. Leader level cap +1. Specialist pop resource output 10 plus. While they have a well-funded militia, a desire to preserve freedom led to a massive number of volunteers willing to fight for their homeland regardless of their level of military experience. Welfare state. In this society, the state traditionally plays a key role in the protection and promotion of the economic and social well-being of its citizens. Can't use private healthcare or private education policies. Obligated to live under social welfare living standards. Pop growth speed 15 plus. Pop demotion time 15 minus. Unemployment consumer goods upkeep 1 plus. Unemployment pop consumer goods upkeep 1 plus. Unemployed consumer goods upkeep +1. Unemployed pop consumer goods upkeep +1. So, well, basically just slightly more consumer goods upkeep, but I mean the bonuses are pretty worth it. Until you have, problems, but this one is interesting. On a frozen, tidally locked world, in oblivious, freezing oblivion. Let's see, since I feel like I have to read this one. It would be really interesting to read this one. Rocky, frozen, wet world with a nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere, tidally locked to its parent star. The day side is a thawed ocean and constantly bombarded by sunlight, while its night side consists of frozen glaciers, strong winds, and powerful currents. Currents meet at the edge of those two distinct sides. Basically, One side is a ocean, another side is very, very cold and freezing, with glaciers. Good luck to anyone who wants to bite their capital planet, I suppose. Could you imagine trying to punch through this empire? Oh wait, this is basically Russia. Yeah, good luck. I mean, I'm pretty sure no one could, unless you have the madness to, or unless you have the ability to survive very cold weather. Which, well, I mean, you can't really survive it, you just don't go out in the cold weather. Conveyor system. This society considers it the absolute right of the state to decide where all citizens live and work, whereas all unity costs for pop resettlement, pop growth from immigration 15+. Ruthless industrialization. This industrial society considers all natural resources as something to be either utilized or commodified. They have little concern about possible environmental outcomes. Starts game with mineral purification technology unlocked. Can learn deep core mining technology allowing to construct thermal boreholes. Can hire deep core engineers. Can't use increased environmental regulation policy and recycling campaign. Entrepreneurs faction will demand reduced environmental regulation policy. An advanced version of mining guild civic. Police state. To quash any trace of dissent, the population in this repressive society is carefully monitored and controlled by a large internal police force. Precious houses and Hall of Judgment had their upkeep increased, so it costs more energy to maintain the police force. A welfare state. In this society, the state traditionally plays a key role in the protection and promotion of the economic and social well-being of its citizens. Can't use private healthcare or private education policies. Obligated to live under social welfare living standards. And they have functional architecture, meaning that they're very utilitarian. This society is renowned for its simple yet functional architecture. There are those who would refer to this building style as boring or even depressing, but in most cases, neoconcrete does the job just as well as any other building material. Well, there's got that, and I think I'm pretty sure everyone knows. Yes, it's freezing. And of you don't want to be there. Well, this one's a fun one. Indirect Democracy. Indirect democracies have regular elections where all citizens can vote on who should represent them. Rational consensus. This government is a materialistic form of democracy governed according to principles based on rationality and scientific theory. And the more moderate versions of all these. Meritocratic. An individual's social station or personal connection should have no bearing on their profession. The sole basis for advancement in this society is demonstrated ability and talent. Industrial democracy. An arrangement which involves regular workers making decisions, sharing responsibility and authority in the workplace, which results in an increased productivity and service delivery for a more fully engaged and happier workforce. Worker happiness 10+, worker political power 100+, worker pop resource output 10+. Innovative economy. An economic paradigm. An economic paradigm according to which the key factor dividing self-sustained economic growth is continuous technological innovation. However, such obsession with high-tech progress may have a disruptive effect on civilization's culture. Starts game with innovation and progress trade policy already unlocked. Research speed 20+ for industry, for biology, and for computing. Monthly unity 10-. Yes. Center of trade. This planet was frequently visited by otherworldly traders as regional centers of trade. Efficient bureaucracy. This society is renowned for its efficiency. Not only do the mag trains run on time, but the colossal bureaucratic apparatus required to run an interstellar nation has been greatly streamlined. So, well, the upkeep and stuff, just slightly less, annoying. Oh, and it's a super habitable world. Dictatorial. Holds an election upon the ruler's desk to select a new ruler. They have the Feudal System. This society considers it the absolute right of the state to decide where its citizens live and work. Efficient democracy. Efficient bureaucracy. This society is renowned for its efficiency. Not only do the mag trains run on time, but the colossal bureaucratic apparatus required to run an interstellar nation has been greatly streamlined. Intended ignorance. Members of this society have been brainwashed by the state so that they don't care too much about the world. Buried in state-provided entertainment and knowledge, they are easily controlled by government propaganda. Edict cost 30 minus, monthly unity 5 plus, monthly influence 0.50 or 0.5, diplomatic influence cost 50 plus, leader experience gain 25 minus. Police state. To quash any traces of dissent, the population in this repressive society is carefully monitored and controlled by a large internal police force. Masterful crafters. A penchant for meticulous crafting lies at the heart of this society. Defiant appendages and keen sensory organs aid them in creating truly wondrous treasures, even in the most basic of trades. But yeah, they're a totalitarian regime. This government is a materialistic form of autocracy where the state aspires towards full control over the lives of its citizens in the name of efficiency. Well, I mean, I'm not very, subtle with what I named this, am I now? Definitely ain't subtle about it. A mortal empire. Well, phonetic spiritualist. Our science has proved that conscious begets reality. We regard with patience the childlike efforts of those who do themselves in the other way around. As they play with their blocks of hard matter. Well, time to show you what they have in their civics. Within the society, death is no bar to call to arms. Masters of the art of necromancy reanimate corpses to rise the dead host and guardians, skirting fear into the hearts of lesser mortals. Of undead armies. So yeah, they are also a mortal empire. This theocratic monarchy engages in ritualized sapient sacrifice. It means that they basically are like the Inca. They're basically like the Aztecs when it comes to sacrificing people. Feudal System. This society considers it the absolute right of the state to decide where its citizens live and work. Militant zealots. Religious fundamentalist, which army maintains strong traditions of intense martial training, both physically and spiritually. They have always ready to protect their they have to be always ready to protect their religious beliefs from, well, basically non-believers. Templars replace priests with Templar jobs. Combination with theocracy or spiritualist themed government civics make them stronger. Assault Army 25, Assault Army 25 health, 25 damage, and 25 morale increase. They have a police state to quash any trace of dissent. The population in this repressive society is carefully monitored and controlled by a large internal police force. Death Cult. This society's religion is built around periodic ritual sacrifice. Willing initiates devote themselves to a decade of study before meeting an end whose effects ripple throughout their culture. Can build sacrifice temple, death, priest, turn consumer goods into unity, society, research, and amenities. Mortal initiates produce unity, society, and amenity. Unlocks a set of sacrifice edicts providing empire-wide bonuses whenever mortal initiates are sacrificed. Grants access to the sacrificial shrine holding. And then we have the genuine aristocracy, which can, well, best be described as, well, you're gonna see. An idealistic form of government where ruling elite consider the interest of society and cares about the people. I mean, doesn't sound too bad. Center of trade. This planet was frequently visited by other worldly traders as a regional center of trade. Aristocratic elite. This society has an entrenched nobility that occupies the upper echelons of society. Some politicians as nobles can construct noble estates, building that adds additional noble jobs, grants access to the noble holding thing, basically. Efficient bureaucracy. This society is renowned for its efficiency. Not only do the mag trains run on time, but the colossal bureaucratic apparatus required to run an interstellar nation has been greatly streamlined. Conveyor system. This society considers it the absolute right of the state to decide where its citizens live and work. And then we have the social democracy of Germany. The Federal Republic of Germany, that is. Which, okay. I can introduce a couple mods I have here, I think. Now, I actually have some mods which have, like, a bunch of, like, Star Wars ship sets in them. So, you see the Separatist, Empire, Rebels, Republic. Now, I went with Republic for the Federal Republic of Germany, and you'll understand why, because there is a state that actually has the Empire ship set. It's just not this one. But anyway, let's see. Indirect Democracy. Indirect democracies have regular elections where all citizens can vote on who should represent them. They have all these, except they also have pacifist. Conflict as a means to an end is a ridiculous concept. It is by nature destructive, destroying what was to be obtained by giving room to grow which was to be destroyed. Social democracy. Idea of a state which, acting in the frame of a market economy, needs to provide security and equality of opportunity for its people and should achieve reorder society in a way that is conducive to such a development, but that such changes should be brought about gradually, legitimized by a democratically elected majority. Environmentalists. This society seeks to coexist in harmony with nature. Great care is taken to preserve the environment and limit consumerism where possible. Universalism. This civilization is driven into space by the spirit of hope and belief in peaceful cooperation of all sentient life in the galaxy. They're basically peaceful people. This is democratic Germany, after all. I don't hide realism. Yeah. Ship weapons damage 15 minus, border friction 25 minus, envoy improved relations 50 plus, available invoice 3 plus, diplomatic weight 15 plus, diplomatic influence cost 15 minus, considered an advanced version of diplomatic cause civic. But so yeah, they'll try and they're gonna aim for diplomatic methods. Welfare state. In this society, the state traditionally plays a key role in the protection and promotion of the economic and social well-being of its citizens. And they can't use privatized healthcare and private education. Oh, I mean, the representative democracy back at the top could, though. Gotta love. Ooh, I just realized. Well, let's see. So, what else have we got? Parliamentary System. The parliamentary system in this society encourages a free and lively debate. Carrying favor with one of the dominant political factions can prove to be quite advantageous. Beacon of liberty. This society idealizes personal liberty, holding above all else the right of the individual to pursue and fulfill their goals and ambitions. The reduction of central government authority and bureaucratic regulations encourages innovation and free flow of people, goods, and ideas across the nation. So yeah. Oh, and well, we're now towards one of my most used ones, actually. But so, yes. A martial empire. This government is a militaristic form of hereditary autocracy where the state exists largely to support the military. Martial ability is highly valued and all citizens are regularly drilled in matters of war. They're frenetic industrialists. Through our inventions we were capable of rising civilization from dust and bending the forces of nature to our will. At our command, the other planets will relinquish their riches and magnificent factories, scoop them up. This power demands be used, and through its uses we shall make the galaxy in our own image. Warrior culture. This society has developed into a hardy warrior culture. Martial prowess is valued above all else, and true glory can only be found on the field of battle. Nationalistic zeal. A strong sense of nationalistic pride permeates all layers of this society. Attack above all else. People in this society developed a tactic that attacking is the best defense. Basically, their military doctrine is to attack and keep attacking. They also believe in that glory in this state can only be found on the field of battle, as described in warrior culture. With this, basically, they're definitely martial though. I'll give you they're the most martial empire ever. Police state. To quash any traces of dissent, the population in this repressive society is carefully monitored and controlled by a large internal police force. Feudal Society. This society is organized in a feudal manner with a monarch whose rule relies on powerful vassals that govern their territories with considerable autonomy. So yeah. They are quick learners. Members of this species are quick to learn from their experiences. Strong. Members of this species possess great physical strength, making them formidable fighters on the ground. 20 plus army damage, worker, pop resource output 2.50. So yes. I'm sure that if you've watched the video, you'll know this is the state which I'm next to. And yeah, that's why I was very worried when I saw them. Because they're a martial empire. They're gonna have a huge military. And I better hope that they don't get very large when it comes to military power. Now, the Crime Syndicate. The Crime Syndicate has quick learners, unruly, intelligent, thrifty, and sedimentary. But they are a corporate. Corporate governments are organized as a massive commercial enterprise that has completely supplanted the role of the state. Criminal Syndicate. This government is an enormous and ruthless business syndicate which shares many of its operating practices with organized crime. So yeah, they basically they're basically criminals in a way. This small mega corporation can trace its origins back to a crime syndicate that eventually grew powerful enough to supplant all forms of local government, cannot form commercial pacts, can build branch offices on planets of any regular influence they have no war or active truce with. Crime Haven. This society stands on the egalitarian value that freedom must be secured. Thus, unless the crime was unnecessarily violent, this society does not put anyone on responsible for their crimes, regardless of their negative effects, since those ideas attract political exiles, criminals, and refugees. This society could be seen as both a land of freedom or a lawless slum. So yeah, I mean, their stability is low, but they basically are just a crime syndicate area. Criminal connections. Those crime lords high up with their empires have connections and manage a network throughout the galaxy, making the establishment and maintenance of new ventures more lucrative than ever. Insider trading. What's good? What good is our knowledge of trading if we don't put it to good use? That's why we're always on the lookout for the best deals, regardless of where they are at. If we don't know how to make more bang for our buck, then what good is our economy? Trading post. Okay, hold on. Good business is where you find it. This mega corporation has a long tradition of spreading its influence through the establishment of trading posts. Their star bases are a busy center of trade. Here we go. We're getting close to the one which I put the whole empire thing for. They are fanatic, materialist, militarist, xenophile, and authoritarian. But here are their civics. Free traders. Oh wait, actually I'll just do this first. This government is a form of plutocratic oligarchy where the state is made up of a myriad of free merchants, corporations, and guilds that have banded together in common commercial interests. Free traders. The trading fleets of this mega corporation are bolstered by semi-independent free traders operating under license. Financial circle. This society is controlled by a circle of wealthy financial enterprises who provide capital to other smaller companies. Although this is a good way to accumulate wealth, it is not a good way to rule the nation. So they have trade value 20 plus, administrative capacity 5 minus. Franchising. This mega corporation relies heavily on franchising. Subsidiaries share a greater cut of their profits with their corporate overlord in exchange for a license to market their goods under established brands. Brand loyalty. This mega corporation has fostered a great sense of brand loyalty among its internal consumer base. Its catchy corporate slogans can be recited by nearly everyone. And a media conglomerate. Before branching into other fields, this mega corporation began its rise to fortune as a media conglomerate. Its PR department are still masters of spinning stories and presenting the latest quarterly report in the most advantageous way. So yeah. And they're on a desert world. They're strong, they're nomadic, they have traditional, but they're also quick learners, but they are repugnant. Because, well, they're businessmen. And here's the state I'm playing. This is gonna sting depending on who you are. Jingoist Regime. This form of authoritarian government is headed by a xenophobic demagogue. And notions of national supremacy and manifest destiny dominate the politics. Okay, so they're authoritarian, they're fanatic xenophobe. Any alien influence must be ruthlessly quashed. Only by staying pure and true to ourselves and the planet that gave us life can we guard against insidious Xeno's plots. Even mastery over the aliens might not be enough to guarantee our own safety. And yes, I really didn't not make it not obvious. Yeah, I went really obvious with this one. Anyone that knows even just the slightest bit of history will probably realize quite quickly. Conveyor systems. This society considers it the absolute right of the state to decide where its citizens live and work. War engineers. This society has a strong tradition of developed military industry and warfare. Their warships and guns are traditionally the best, but expensive. Ship weapon damage 5+, armor hit points 10+, sublight speed 15+, reship speed propulsion 15+, ship build cost 20+. Eugenics idealism. Based on eugenics, this society divides up its population judging by its race, religion, and gender. Many of those who have been defined as non blah blah blah, blah blah blah, just pretend it's like something like along the lines of what the state would say, something like that. Defined as infidels face immense discrimination and segregation, often being systematically exterminated or forcibly calibrated. Nationalistic zeal. A strong sense of nationalistic pride permeates all layers of this society. What's lost in game? 20-. Claim influence cost 15-. Police state. To quash any trace of dissent, the population in this repressive society is carefully monitored and controlled by a large internal police force. Yep. Now, I think I am gonna show you the mods now. I think it is time to show you the mods. Hello, and well, let's see. What are the mods that I actually have here? Well, I've got Planetary Diversity Exotic Worlds, Planetary Diversity Unique Worlds, Planetary Diversity Gaia Worlds, Planetary Diversity Ring Worlds, Cross-Border Trade, Star Wars Rebel Ships 3.5, Star Wars Rebel Ships 3.5, Star Wars Republic Ships 3.5, Star Wars Separatist Ships 3.5 NCSC2 Edition. Some of these mods over here don't work, so I'm gonna wait for them to update. Currently I've got this Sci-Fi Tech Pack Legacy. I've got Revolution, Ethics and Civics, Gigastructure Engineering and more 3.5. Solaris Kill Counter because, well, I happen to like seeing how many people and be able to count how many planets I've blasted into oblivion. Unicivic, new mechanic for vanilla civics. Star Wars Empire Ships 3.5. UI overhaul dynamic. 36 building slots. UI overhaul. More traditions category 18. More civics. Mod. 5 civic points. Planetary diversity. Stellaris texture pack. Planetary diversity 2K. Human Union and Ground Command. Planetary Diversity Space Habitats. So yeah, that's all the list of mods. So yeah, this has been basically the overview of states and mods. I do hope you enjoy this.